Hello, hello. Okay, it's me, Hugo, and I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. Um, yeah, since it's not really the most complicated problem. All we're doing is, or actually, right, let me just look at the thing here. Okay, and let me move this back up here. Sorry, I have to take a screenshot. Okay, so this is repeated substring pattern. It's not hard. All it's asking us to do is what's it called? They give us a string, so the input is just a string with lowercase English letters. That's the constraint of the string. So that's the type of input we're getting. Um, and what we're looking for is whether or not we can repeat a substring within it to create the new string. So like essentially, can we repeatedly append a substring from this string that was given as an input to remake it without modification? So like in the first example, AB is the substring that repeats again, and if you repeat it, then you'll get ABAB, which is the original input. In this case, you have ABA, but you can't repeat it because if you repeat A, you get AAA, and that's not equal to the original input. And then if you do AB, then that's not equal to the original input because AB, and then AB doesn't repeat again because it's only A afterwards. And then here it's ABC, 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 ABC. And that returns true. So we're just returning a boolean whether or not it is, if there is a substring that repeats to create the original. So it's pretty cool. The length of the string will be at most 1,000 characters, and the string only contains lowercase English letters. So nice, sweet, and short. Nothing complex about it. So the original approach I went with, was very. I was thinking about it in like C++ basically. So I was trying to do everything manually, and I kind of forgot that you can multiply strings and use splicing in Python. So I changed it a little bit, but basically it's kind of the same idea. Overall, we're just going to be going up until n divided by 2. N represents the length of the string. This is because a substring to repeat without modification would have to be at most 1/2 the length of the string, because if you repeat a substring that's bigger than that, then you'll never get the same string because it'll be more than the value. It'll be longer. The repeated substring will create a longer string than the original. So we'll only go up to n divided by 2 over plus 1 in case of, odds and all that. So we're just handling that. It's an off by 1 thing. We start at 1 because it's repeated, so it has to repeat. So if we have a string that's only of size 1, so that's one of the constraints, it could be size 1. If we have a string that's only length 1, then we return false because it's never repeating because it's the same character in the same place. And then we also start at 1 for that reason, because we're basically using the first indices, or the first character, and we're just expanding on it from there to repeat over the string and just check if it works. So we're using the start as a basis, and because of that, we're gonna start at 1 rather than 0, because we can, yeah. And also right here, it also helps with splicing, because splicing, if we did 0, 0, I don't think that would work, or it would be an empty string. So yeah. And then we just check, okay, if the length of the string is divisible by the current number that we're on, that means that there can be repeated substrings there, because the length of the substring can fit perfectly, or can be perfectly repeated into fitting perfectly into the string. So in ABAB, if we go to 1, we'd have, it would be 1, right? Yeah. Okay, maybe ABC would be better. If we have AB, then what's gonna happen here at first is gonna be okay, the length of it, not sure what it would be. It's 4, so 3, 12. 12 divided by 1, there's no remainder, so it fits cleanly. So we do the check, and then we keep going. So 3, or 2, I guess, right? Wait, am I messing something up? Oh no, right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm blanking right now. Basically because I represents like the cutoff point without it's not being included basically. So in the first iteration, we're just checking the A, and then checking AB. So when it gets to 3, it's gonna be ABC because 3 is the cutoff point. So it goes 0, 1, 2, and then it stops at 3. Uh, so when it gets to 3, it's gonna check. Okay, is 12 divisible? If 12 divided by 3, does it have a remainder? And when you do that, it doesn't have a remainder, so it goes in here. And in that case, what's gonna happen here is we're gonna check. Okay, if the substring from 0 to the I that we're currently at, not inclusive, which is something I just realized. I'm sorry. Well, not just realized. Just remembered. I did this problem a while, not a while ago, but this morning, and I went to sleep to take a nap. So yeah. But so the substring, we can multiply that substring by the number of time or the number. Okay, so we're dividing the length of the string of the total string by the current number that we're on in the, or the number of characters that are in the substring, and that would give us the number of times the substring can be repeated to get to the same length as the string, right? So in this case, if we had 3, what's gonna happen here is we're gonna get 12 divided by 3, and that's gonna give us 4. And then 4 is the amount of times we're gonna repeat the substring before we check if it's equal to the original string. So we're gonna do ABC, 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 and ABC. So it's gonna multiply 4 times, and then we're gonna compare that to the original, and in this case, it will return true. Now, if we look at a case where it wouldn't work, is when it's AB or A. No, when it's A is better. When it's A, what's gonna happen here is we're gonna have N, which is 12 divided by 1, and that's not gonna have a remainder. So we go in here and we check the condition. 0 to 1 is going to give us the first character, so it's going to give us A, and then we're going to multiply it by the number of times N can be divided by the number, or the number of times the substring can fit inside of the number of times the length of the substring can fit inside of the length of the normal string, because that's like how many repeats we can have of it. So in this case, since I is just 1, we're going to have 12. So we're going to have a string of A repeating 12 times. And we're just going to compare that to the original. So is A repeating 12 times equal to the original? Nope. So in that case, we just go back out of the if statements, and then we end up in the next iteration. Whoops. So that's the original solution, and if you don't find any substring that matches the condition of being true, then we just return false because it wasn't there. Okay, so that's the first solution. It worked well, pretty good overall. Second solution, this was just me being dumb and playing around with it. I used any to basically see, or I basically just converted it into a one-liner because this was pretty simple. It wasn't really a crazy for loop. The only thing I guess that I would use differently is I would just have the if statement above it. Like if this was serious, I would put the if statement above it and then do the one-liner. But basically what this is doing is it's looking if any of these are true. Oh, sorry. If any of these are true, and then if any of them are true, then we're just going to return true. And if they're not, then we're just going to return false. And we're just doing all the logic from here in one line instead, because it can just be condensed like that. So it's pretty cool. The length of... Sorry, I'm trying to reread this. This is not readable. This is just a joke, and I was writing it for the funsies. Yeah, let me not waste too much time on that one. Because the real talk of the show is this one. Now, this one was crazy. I found it online when I was like searching up, okay, what's the most like effective solution for this though? Like, was it mine? I feel like mine was pretty effective. I don't think, I mean, it looks like it, right? It looks like it, right? It looks like, okay, maybe there's just like a little margin of error, LeetCode servers, blah, blah, blah. And then I find this solution, and I'm like, what is this? A one-liner with like 5 things going on. So what we're doing here is we're going to get the original string, and we're going to check if it is inside of itself, concatenated to itself, excluding the last two character, the last character and the first character. So this is kind of weird, but it kind of makes sense, because basically what we're doing is we're finding if since we're concatenating it to itself, and then removing the last character. Wait, it was, oh no, ABC isn't right. Sorry, ABC doesn't work. ABC works. So like, or maybe I should do AB. No, this isn't works. So basically we're concatenating the two strings, and we're just gonna look at the last. We're just gonna remove the first and the last characters, and we're just gonna look if the original string is a substring, or it is contained inside of here. And because we basically double it, the repeatedness, it will occur at least once in here if it is a repeating substring. So the repeating behavior will still continue in here. And we actually see it right here. And that makes sense, because we're just removing the last one and then the first one. So the as you can see, when we highlight it, the only things that aren't highlighted are going to be the first two characters, where the repeatedness stopped for the first repeat stopped, and then the same thing happening at the end, but with the last character. So A is removed from the front, and then C is removed from the end, but it repeats once in the middle. It's super cool. I thought that was so clever. And it worked better than the other solutions. It's O of n. So these ones are O of n squared, because we're looping forward, and then the splicing itself is like O of n. So sure, there's a breakout point early on if it is, but it's basically O of n. And this solution, or that's O of n inside of O of n, so it's O of n squared. This one's just O of n, because all you're doing is you're going to concatenate it really quickly. You're first going to concatenate it. I don't think concatenating... Wait, is concatenating in Python O of n? I forgot if it's O of n or O of 1. I think it's O of n. My internet's just being slow. Let's see. Yeah. So O of n, the length of 1 and 2. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So this would be O of n, and then this is basically O of n also, because this is O of n because we're splicing. So it's just two different O of n calls, but it's not as slow as O of n squared. So it's a lot faster. I mean, you could see that in the runtime, 3 milliseconds as opposed to 15 and 7. Well, 15 was me being dumb, but 7, you know, it's half the time, and that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool solution. But yeah, that's it. Sorry if I took too long on this. But yeah, that's 3 different solutions for it, and they all have their own thing to it. Ignore my little side tangent about the second one, but yeah.